Yo, 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 this your boy Larry, and I'm chilling and vibing with artist Gold all the way from the UK. How you doing, man?
You know, vibing, bro. We chilling.
Oh
Definitely.
yeah.
I'm good,
Hey,
bro. You?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you for coming on my platform, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, you reached out, man. Was in the same Twitter space, I think, and you reached out and had a quick look at the platform and definitely like what you're doing, you know, to say to you. So, yeah, man. I'm here.
And I've been listening to your music, man. From that same Twitter space, I heard your song or one of your songs, and I was like, yo, that's dope. That's dope.
That's up, my guy. That's
So
up.
how long have you been doing music?
Boy, I think I'm revealing my age if I start talking about how long I've been doing music, but to put it this way, I was like, I'm an 80s baby, yeah? So, I've been doing music since probably the early 90s, before I touched into like, what you guys would call high school. So around the age of like 9, 10, I was already, playing around with music at that age anyway, like keyboards and drum kits and stuff like that. And yeah, I just started writing rhymes around the age of 9, 10, and just it was a bit of a hobby at first, but then yeah, I mean, the story progresses in different ways, isn't it? Like, and it's always just been something that I've, always fell in love with hip hop and just, from them, the young ages, younger than that. And yeah, just always kept it going. So that's it.
What artists inspire you to, become an artist?
I think probably at the time when I started writing, I was heavily influenced by a lot of West Coast rappers at the time. So I was listening to like a lot of Snoop Dogg. I was listening to like Hella Above the Law. I was listening to like Tupac. Tupac's like the ultimate GOAT for me. So I was listening to Tupac a lot, but also like the New York MCs, the Nas's, Wu-Tang Clan, Show and AG, DITC, all of that shit. Like, so the boom bap era and like the early West Coast era when, like even like NWA days, like when I was a kid, like NWA's was like popping off. And that was it for me, like my cousin had a crazy record collection, so my sister was doing music, so just a thing that's always been around really. So, just picked up on those artists early on and kept it going, yeah.
So how is like rap in the UK?
Well, you know what? It kind of it's differed a lot because obviously I would say, given my age, like rap's changed a lot in the UK. Like because in the early days, it was a lot more like the New York sounding boom bap stuff, and everything had a New York sound to it. And then it's quickly progressed from that to mixing because in the UK we've got heavy Jamaican influence, so heavy reggae influence, heavy dancehall influence in with the hip hop. I had this discussion with Buckshot, like, because I know he again, Buckshot, those guys from boot camp, a lot of them are Jamaicans and were doing that stuff also in the late 90s. But, I had to say to Buckshot, like, guys been doing that here since the 80s, bro. Like, what should I say? So yeah, definitely, that's what it was like back then. And then as we progress into the 90s, you got like jungle music, which is like a mix of like hip hop and reggae music, but sped up. And that turned into what obviously people now call drum and bass. And then you have like the house scene, the Chicago house scene made it to London, which then became like another form again of music called garage, which is called house and garage music. And I know, you got that in the US, you got US garage and stuff like that, right? But yeah, so over here it was like MCs doing that. And then that then turned into grime, and then grime then turned into drill, and then obviously drill is kind of like the flavor of the month at the moment, really. But yeah, UK hip hop's always been here. There's always been artists throughout every single era, like all the way going back to some of my like my uncles and that, going back to like the late 70s and the early 80s. There has always been like, as long as there's been rap in New York, there's always been rap in the UK. It's always had that. I don't know. There's always been that affinity between the two countries.
How
Yeah.
you feel about that song Band for Band, Central C and the Baby? You like it?
I haven't even heard it, bro. I haven't even heard it. To be honest, yeah, like a lot of the new shit misses me, right? Yeah, because I'm an old head, right? Like so, a lot of the new shit kind of misses me, and I know people are getting a little bit more creative with their bars, like the younger ones now, they're getting a lot more creative with their bars. But like the first era of, I'd say the first, saying the first era, but I'd say the last 10 years of hip hop in the UK, I've only paid attention to some artists. Yeah. And the ones that have come up more in the drill scene, I haven't really paid attention to them. Because I've
Mhm.
got like nephews, like who are, and like nieces who are in that age group. And they rap, bro. You know what I'm trying to say to you? So it's like, I never see a reason to really get too much into it. Like I listen to some of it and some of it's all right, but I'm not. I don't know. You know, the messaging's way off sometimes and shit. So yeah, but I know a lot of people be listening to Central C and big up to him and he's doing his thing. You get what I'm trying to say to you. A lot of these youths, they found a way to be able to with obviously the YouTube and everything else, they found a way to be able to monetize on what they're doing a lot quicker than it was for in our era, a lot easier. They still have to do mad hard work, but they found that way to monetize and they're doing it. They're getting their money in it, So I can't knock it, but it's just not really my flavor, isn't it?
Yeah, technology really advanced, what I'm saying, rappers nowadays. Cause like, back in the day, you had to make a CD, get it printed out, and then go out and sell it. Now you can just put it online and it'd be all over the world.
That's what I'm saying. And even before like the CD era, like, we was putting shit on tapes and then we had to go and like we had to bring those decks to, the youth spots or the parks or wherever. And that's how we would get it out, we go to a local open mic or talent competition, or you have to actually create that, like demos, like and send them to labels. Like so, and that was before the CD era. So luckily enough for me, I learned I learned like a lot about the studio and the industry from the family that I had in the industry. And then also there was like a youth project called PMA, Positive Mental Attitude, that opened in my area. So when I was young, I got kicked out of school and I ended up going there. So I ended up getting like a full sound engineering studio qualification at about the age of 14. So I knew how to set up a studio. I knew how to use all the equipment. I knew how to video edit back when we used to have the two VHS recorders, like so so yeah, so I learned a lot of that at like a really, really young age. So for me, it was like seeing what's going on now and then going through the CD era, and we had that slight little mini disc era where people were making mixtapes on mini discs and stuff like that as well. Like people often forget that shit, right? So I've kind of seen it evolve and definitely now it's like 10 times easier, man.
It
Like,
is.
like I remember when we first got like I say to people like I was using again luckily enough to go through that era where people was using reel to reels and like the Atari ST was the computer that everyone was using and using Cubase and you never had no sounds in the computer at those points. All the sounds were on outboard synth gear and whatever. So seeing all of that to where we are now, I can just grab my phone, put together a beat, rap on the train, put it out tomorrow. Like it's definitely much easier, and it's a good thing to a degree, yeah, because I think that at the same time, I think because anyone is so accessible, anybody's doing it, which has kind of left quality control to slide a lot. Like even with like fans are just like, yeah, whatever sounds a little bit good and whatever has been promoted to them. So that's
Yeah, a lot is what being promoted to them because some of the songs I hear on the radio, I really don't like. But you start to hear it repeatedly, and it just get in your memory, and you're like, oh, okay. And then now everybody else listening to it, so now it's programming your head. It's like they programming you to
yeah,
like the song
yeah.
now.
And then you're next minute you're in the club, you had two drinks and you're singing the tune the same as everybody else. I should say to you, yes, I get it, man. I get it, 100%.
And it was a movie was showing something like that, like how they was programming people to do things, well, listen to things. And granted, they might not have liked it, but because they keep hearing it repeatedly, they started liking. I'm like, wow, that's how life is for real nowadays.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And the platforms, I think the platforms obviously push for profit. Yeah. So anything that the platform see people nod their head to, they tap their head to, or the machine, so-called machine, has spat it out. If they see that it's for profit, and especially when it comes out of the machine, what people don't realize is that these companies are all tied into each other, you know. So Universal might have called a favor from YouTube or whatever, somebody that they know behind the scenes to get that shit plugged. And you could say it's the same way in the radio era, right? Because in the radio era, certain DJs or certain managers or whatever, they could call certain radio producers and say, "Hey, spin this shit," or just put some money under the table and that shit will get spun, right?
So how did your song came about Gold?
So so it actually comes the name Gold, yeah, right? Like actually comes from back in the day, like when I was a young kid, like I used to like collect a lot of the. You remember everyone used to wear those sovereign rings, right? So I used to collect those, right? And somebody called me Goldfinger one day, right? And it just that became my thing, right? And so I've between the ages of probably around 11 and maybe 14, 15, and but everyone just used to call me Gold for short, and then that name kind of faded out, faded away for a little while. I was doing life shit, getting into trouble, you know, did a short stint in prison, so on and so forth. So all of that shit happened in between time. And then when I kind of came back to writing again, I was like, I can't call myself that shit. Shit sounds corny as fuck, right? Like, so I can't call myself that shit now. And that must have been about when I was about 17 or 18. And I was like, you know what? Like, I need to really change this name. But at the same time, I wanted to kind of keep the fact that people were calling me Gold. Everyone called me Gold anyway, right? And people who knew that I rapped called me Gold. So I then broke it down into an acronym which stands for Getting Over Living Dangerously because I felt like I was changing life, like I was entering a new chapter in my life. So it was like, hey, I'm not doing this shit anymore, the same dangerous shit, the same bullshit that I used to do. I was having my first baby and, I was like, I need to kind of get away from that stereotype shit. So I ended up just changing it to Gold and splitting it into the acronym and here we are.
That's dope. That's dope. What about that song, man? All About Gold. How did that came about?
Yeah, so again, as I was saying earlier, like, because in the UK, like, my parents' parental background is Jamaican, right? So both of my parents are Jamaican, and my granddad is like, like proper like Arawak Indian Jamaican, So my sound, I would say, is born out of more the Jamaican side of things, like, and just my love for hip hop, right? So, in Jamaica, we love sound systems, like Jamaica guys always been, what we call chatting, which is the same thing as rapping, like it's always been a thing, like in dancehall scene. And coming up when I was younger, we'd it's common, like I said over here, for people to flip the styles, right? Even the white rappers over here flip the stars, right? Yeah. So so yeah, it's just like a combination of the two things. And I think when I was making that song, I started writing it and the hook just kind of jumped into my head. And it was like, okay, I was like, so what's it all about? Yeah. And then I was like a little bit of this and a little bit of that, right? So it's like a little bit of bashment, what we call dancehall over here, bashment. So a little bit of bashment, a little bit of rap, what I'm trying to say. So the two coming together, and then yeah, I think when I actually made the song, it wasn't supposed to be like any kind of like single or anything like that. It was just me making the song. And then as I came, kind of to bring the kind of Bitcoin and music stuff together to kind of jump back into music in the last 2 years, I was like, yeah, well, maybe I should put this out. Yeah. If you notice, I've only got two tunes out on commercial platforms, right? That are my tunes that I produced, right? Or rapped over. So that and All About Gold was only semi-produced by me. It was actually my cousin Jimmy Screech that done that production. But yeah, so the two tunes that I put out was one tune called No Photos, right? Which you could probably see from the interview right now. Obviously, I'm not this guy. I don't do that whole photo shit. Whatever, right? Like I am who I am. I know who I know. I do what I do when it's time in it, right? So that's it. And I never really was in one for the whole fame thing and all of that kind of shit. I've never been like that, right? Ever since a kid, right? So, and I'm a guy that just personally, I don't have loads of pictures. You talk to my family, they'll tell you I'm in this picture, I'm in that picture, but they won't show you like loads of pictures. Like I don't post on Instagram constantly and shit, right? So no photos for me was like a song about that. It's like, yeah, you might not see me with your favorite rapper. You might not see me, but I'm there. Do you understand? You might not see me in these spots, but I'm there. Yeah, and that's what No Photos was about. So when I put that out, it was like a premise to what's about to come. Yeah, and then with All About Gold, it was like, okay, cool. No Photos was more like a slow kind of reggae infused, like really one drop kind of sounding beat. And All About Gold as a follow up for me was like, okay, just in case you thought that this was everything, just in case you thought that this was the sound, I could take it this way as well, I should have said to you,
Mm.
right? Or do anything else. And then if you look up the ghostwriters with a Z at the end, so GWZ ghostwriters. You look that up, you'll see that we do drum and bass, we do jungle, we do dancehall music. That I pretty much do everything. Yeah. So putting the All About Gold out just after that tune, for me it just made logical sense for me to put that out, and that's kind of like out in the forefront. Whereas the rest of the stuff that I've been working on and some of the other things that I'm about to put out are more for the people who get the Bitcoin space. So yeah.
So how long have you been into Bitcoin?
Um, I first kind of discovered Bitcoin through watching Russia Today and Max Kaiser in 2013, and I started collecting sats and messing around with Bitcoin in like early mid 2014. Um, and yeah, that's it really. Just early days I was just learning, I suppose, and I was going through a lot life wise. So I didn't actually really get hardcore into things until maybe 2015. And then following 2015 right into the end of 2016, like I lost quite a lot of Bitcoin because I moved around. I was going through some shit, as I said. So I moved around. I like, back in those days, we used to write private keys down and print out paper wallets. And so I lost a lot of fucking Bitcoin. Like, and when it came around to 2016, I started buying Bitcoin again. Like, well, I started buying Bitcoin for the first time because before then, all of the Bitcoin that I had got was for free. Like back then we had Bitcoin faucets, if you would believe it back then. So, same way as people do their airdrops and whatever now, and faucets and whatever, we was doing all kinds of shit to be able to get Bitcoin, right? And yeah, so 2016 I started buying Bitcoin again. 2017 I started onboarding local merchants in my area to Bitcoin. And then a dude just like, paid me and said, "Yo, bro, you should do this professionally. Like you should like teach people this shit." And then I did between 2017 and still now, I'm a consultant as well in the space. So I pretty much, have worked with a lot of people in the early days and now. So still working with people. And even today I just came from a Bitcoin meetup. That's why I was traveling from the other side of London today. So yeah.
So is Bitcoin the only crypto you got, or you got other altcoins also?
Um I hold other stuff. But Bitcoin I think I had to recenter myself to Bitcoin in 2020 because I could see the bull run coming. I could see the same bullshit happening that was happening in 2017. And I could see even more people getting lost in the rabbit hole. And I think that although like people like to say, oh yeah, there's other cryptocurrencies and all of that, like, I always say to people like Bitcoin brought you here because nothing else is gonna save you. Do you understand, right? It doesn't matter how much money you're getting, right? Like, like there's no point in you getting all these altcoins, selling them for dollars, only for the value of your dollars to go down and your bank account to be closed when the fucking government thinks that you were doing something wrong. You got
Yeah.
Bitcoin, you ain't worried about that shit. You understand what I'm trying to say to you, right? And that's so most people, as I'll explain to somebody today, most people that say, "Oh yeah, I altcoin and I do all of this other stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, cool. Like, I touch on that as well, but there's a way to come in to this shit, I think personally, just for era I'm from, there's a way to come into this shit, and that is by learning Bitcoin. Because if you learn Bitcoin, you understand how everything's supposed to work. So you avoid scams very easily. Yeah, you avoid bullshit projects very easily. If you do buy alts, yeah, you get out of them at the right time because you can see the effects of what's about to happen. And you also, like I said, you also understand the underlying principles of the space, like the decentralization. Yeah. You understand the freedom aspect of things. You understand the privacy. You understand, you know, don't leave your crypto on exchanges. Yeah. Right. Be your own bank. Yeah. Not your keys, not your coins. Right. Yeah. You understand all of this shit. You understand memes, all of that shit if you understand Bitcoin. But when you understand anything else, you don't get it still. You get what I'm trying to say? You're still, no matter how much you're like, yeah, this crypto is gonna get me this, and this crypto is gonna get me that. Like everything else is like really like a test of trying to do something else around Bitcoin. Because this is a Bitcoin economy, regardless of how much you wanna people could tell me about any other cryptocurrencies, but right about now, when you go and you look on any exchange, coin market cap, whatever it is, what has the most money locked inside of it? One protocol, not Ethereum and 1,000, 10,000 L2s. Yeah, one protocol has the bulk of the capital in this space. Yeah, and the reason why the money stays in that protocol because that protocol is the fucking money. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And everything else, it has some things have its own utility, some things, whatever. But it's just real talk. And people might say I'm a Bitcoin maximalist or whatever, Bitcoin maxi, my guy. Like if you're not here if you're not here to be a Bitcoin maxi, what the fuck are you doing here? Because if you're just making money, yeah, that ain't gonna save you, bro. That ain't gonna save you. You know what I'm trying to say?
That's true, man. Because I found out Bitcoin was I think Bitcoin was $500 when I first got in. When I found out about it,
Mm.
and I wish I would have it always kept going up. Always
That's what I'm
kept going
saying.
up.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, in the end of the day, like, even if you don't see Bitcoin as money, you got to see Bitcoin as the greatest, as I say to people, the best savings account ever. Yeah, right. And
It,
your savings can't be taken from you. That's the key aspect of it. That your savings cannot be taken from you. Yeah. So, so if you're gonna, make long-term investments, like you said, if even those times when I was getting in like $300 and shit, I wasn't taking this shit that seriously. Like I knew it was gonna change shit. I knew like, hey, this will probably be the thing that. But do you think I was thinking Bitcoin would go from $300 to $600 in the next like 9 months? Do you think I thought it was gonna go from $600 to fucking $1,200 in the next 3, 4 months from there? Do you think that I knew it was going to go from $1,000 to $20,000 in that next 2 years? Yeah, no, no. Yeah, so as I said, when it got to 2020, like I'd been in the game. What I saw the edge of the last cycle, the 2013, 2014, the Ethereum cycle. Yeah, first Ethereum, the first altcoin cycle. I was there, yeah. I saw what arguments were going on. I saw fucking, I was on Bitcoin talk, yeah, right? Like, and I was saying to somebody the other day, I wish I typed more. I wish I asked more questions in those days, but I was just there, just reading this shit, just trying to learn it. And I saw what happened in 2017 when it became ICOs and everybody building their own tokens and NFTs really first came in, yeah, because a lot of people think NFTs, came in at like 2021, right? And I was here in 2021, and I've seen the same thing happen over and over and over again. And every time it happens, the people who are not complaining, the people who are still here fighting for everybody's freedom, the people who are still building the applications, the people who are not stepping on anybody's toes, the Bitcoiners. Where the
yeah,
money goes, it goes out, it comes into Bitcoin, it disappears from the Ponzi fucking fiat money system, and they print more money, and then 4 years later we do it all over again. Yeah. So everyone holds onto their altcoins and they go to fucking 90% miners. I should say, like I've seen it 3 times since the invention of altcoins to now. So so And I used to have this saying that you need to be in this game for 2 cycles before you truly understand what's going on. You know, you can make money, bro. I'm not saying nobody can't make money. Like if you're a trader, whatever, whoever you are, if you don't care about the science of it, care about freedom, whatever, yeah, you can make money. You could definitely make money. Yeah, right. Not understanding everything, but if you want to truly understand what this shit is about, like you got to be here 2 cycles. You got to see everything, everybody make loads of money, everybody go broke again, then you've got to experience it for yourself. You've got to fucking make loads of money and go broke again. Yeah, like, and yeah, I'm just trying to change the status quo of that shit, and I'm using the music to try and do that as well. So
Yeah, that's what's up. And yeah, I done been here a couple of cycles, and like you, man, everything you saying, I witnessed. I went through it.
yeah, yeah, it's crazy, and that's what I'm saying. The ones of us who do know, we can hold on to these assets, and they can go minus 90%, and we just go, all right, cool, we'll just hold them. We'll buy more or we'll do whatever. Yeah, we're not that concerned. But the ones of us who are just first cycle now, they come in and then they lose all that dough, bro. Like, and bro, like I just know so many people it's happened to, and so many sad stories as well of people that it's happened to. It's like all you got to do is just be here for what the space is here for. Like you're joining this space because you want to leave that bullshit that they've been peddling to us for like the last 150 years behind. You gotta understand that shit. Like, and if that's not the shit that you're here for, then when they decide to chop that shit off and like keep you in this fucking prison, bro, you're not gonna know what the fuck to do. You know what I'm trying to say to you? You're just gonna be like, oh, I wish I thought my Ethereum was safe or whatever.
It's crazy you said that because there was a lot of people who didn't believe me at first when I was telling them about crypto, and I was like, "Yo, it's right here, man. Like, that's it." And they was like, "Oh man, I don't know, man. That sounds like a scam." All right. So it's a couple of people, man. I really changed their lives because they listened to me and they bought Bitcoin, they bought Ethereum, and they bought some other altcoins, but they kept Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah, yeah.
Like one guy I know, he had at least 5 Bitcoin. One of them had 10, and they said, "Man, I'm just gonna hold on to it." And when Bitcoin went up to like this was the last, like I think it went to like 30,000.
Yeah, yeah.
They was like, "Yo, thank you, man. You really you really helped change my life." And
That's how
it made me feel good because I'm like, man, you know what I'm saying? Me helping change somebody else's life, changing the way they live, the way the system got us living, and growing up, you gotta work, then you die. No, man, you gotta
it.
live too.
That's it. That's it. And it's the same similar thing for me, man. I think the point where I felt like I had achieved something really wasn't even just the people that I told, it was my uncles, yeah. Like my uncles, they got me into computing when I was a kid. You get me? So like one works for a very prominent like British company, doing computers, networking, and the other one like a programmer. So they've always had computers in their houses. When I was a kid, I used to go to their houses. One was teaching me Apple, the other's teaching me Microsoft, right? So I knew quite a lot about both systems and I started building computers at a young age, right? Like building my own PCs and stuff. So the computing side was always there of interest to me anyway, like not just the finance side, right? And I think in like 28, maybe 2018, the first time, or 2017 maybe, when I was trying to get them involved. And I kept saying to them, look, you man gotta look at this Bitcoin thing. Go and read the white paper. Like when you lot read this shit, you lot are gonna be like, oh my God, like, this is the new thing. And they were like, so the next year they're laughing still, we're having all these Christmas dinners, bro. And like they're like, how's your Bitcoin thing going? Like, so on and so forth. And it wasn't until the last bull run that they saw Bitcoin go above the 20K mark and they were like, all right, look, we're gonna buy some now, and they called me up and they said like we bought some and they called me back like when we were at like 60K and they just said, yeah, I said we should have listened to you a long time ago, man. We should have listened to you a long time ago. They said, we're sorry, man, we should have listened to you ages ago. We would have even given you money to invest in this shit like years ago, Like, but I was like, look, you're here now, innit? You know what I'm trying to say to you? Like, that is what it is. they said, oh, well, people are saying it's gonna crash and whatever. I said, listen, don't even worry about that. When it goes back down, just buy more, bro. Like, I spoke to my uncle like maybe the beginning of this year. He's like, yeah, don't worry, man. I still got my holdings and that. I'm just, bought a little bit more, whatever, what I'm trying to say. So that's it, man. Like, and that's the shit. What for me was like, all right, even though I onboarded loads of business, I onboarded loads of people, I've done all this consultancy, I've been up and down speaking at conferences, blah 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 blah. The shit that really hit home for me is when I was able to onboard my fucking uncles, my aunties, my granddad. That shit hit home for me, fam, because them man realized now I ain't just been doing some bullshit for the last couple of years. You know what I'm trying to say to you? So yeah, that was definitely a blessing.
Oh yeah, man. I always feel good, say, especially when you can bring your family up, and
Mm,
they see the vision that you see, man. It's an amazing feeling, for real, for real.
yeah, yeah, definitely, bro. And we're still here doing it, though. We're still here doing it, bro.
Oh
Like,
yeah. And I'm still gonna hold on. And while I'm doing, I'm chilling and vibing.
chilling and vibing, my guy. That is it.
Hey, Gold, I appreciate you for coming on, man. But before we go, let everybody know what we doing.
Chilling and vibing.
All
Peace
right,
out.
man.